If humanity is to survive, they must stand together and face the rising darkness. Though, that may not be enough.
What it do, and welcome to Season 3's showcase, The Global Rising. This showcase might be a little bit different from the previous two you've seen before, but I am super excited because we are going to be showing each class with multiple build variations from top PvP players across the globe. So, without further ado, let's check out the Barbarians.
Inve.
For those of you looking to jump headfirst into the heat of battle, screaming and slashing your way to victory, then perhaps the Barbarian is for you. And while we watch these exceptional players demonstrate their builds, I'll be giving a thorough breakdown of each class's pros and cons as per patch 4.1.4, with the current class meta consistently changing from the release of new essences and updates. I needed a way to evenly compare these unique classes fairly, so I decided to rate them based on a 4-key PvP category system, each with scores of 10.
ArrowDynamic.
Speed, survivability, utility, and damage. And at the end of the showcase, you can find my complete class breakdown chart. So, starting with speed. For the Barbarian, I give them a 6. Based upon personal builds I've encountered, the class is speedy when necessary, but not quite as fast as classes such as the Wizard or the Demon Hunter, but overall is a very sturdy class. That's why I give them a survivability of a 7, while being one of only 2 classes with the capabilities of dispelling enemy buffs. I give the Barbarian's team utility a score of a 6, and its consistency of damage a 7. For not every build is going to incorporate the Spark Tusk. Overall, the Barbarian is in a great standing with an even spread among all the other classes. It's still a great tank for holding and pushing the idols, but falls a little behind more with survivability tank classes such as the BK or the Bear Druid. So in total, I give the Barbarian a combined score of 26. And quickly, I want to give a big shout out to Inve and Jörgenaut for helping me connect and get in contact with some of these EU players. Much appreciated, guys.
SnakeTheVile.
For all the longtime Blood Knight fans out there, your time has finally come once again. The sun has finally set, and it's the monster's time to shine. As Abomination builds have drastically increased, thanks to the combination of these 2 recently added essences, the chest of the Skin Upon Steel, Transfusion now converts all self-healing into a growing absorb shield, preventing all knockback effects, and paired with the Shoulders of the Anchored Agony, Abomination no longer consumes anger and instead consumes your life while also providing additional self-healing.
Sweaty.
This combination creates a massive regenerative shield for the BK, capable of withstanding and even benefiting from fighting multiple enemies at once. The catch is, for the Blood Knight to maintain this massive regenerative shield, a consistent flow of higher damage output is needed that is greater than the incoming damage received. Otherwise, the Abomination will eat through its own transfusion shield, so many BKs have turned to utilizing the power of damage over time abilities and gems, while equipped with a 4-set Grace, essentially stacking as many dots as possible.
Norman.
For every 5 ticks of damage, the Grace set will deal additional damage, extending and growing the transfusion shield. During my time as a BK, I noticed a greater deal of success when I heavily stacked armor with either a full stack of potency or resistance. Definitely helped mitigate the incoming damage, which overall helps sustain transfusion. Additional ways of helping sustain the transfusion shield, besides just the basic skills of the essences like Shroud of Night with the evasion, or the Whirling Strike with the counter essence. Stacking what I like to call terror essences with a 4-set of the Abomination,
RDK,
where all damage over time effects are reduced by 20%, stacking to a total of 80% damage over time reduction. Toss in a couple of the Whirling Strike stacks for an additional range, you'll find it much easier to sustain Transfusion Shield. So the moral of this story is, find a way to consistently build and sustain your Transfusion Shield, but be wary of classes like Crusaders, Demon Hunters, Druid Wolves that are very capable of dealing high burst damage while also being able to evade or immune the BK's incoming damage.
TheRuinedKing.
Classes like this have the greatest chance to instantly pop your Transfusion Shield, as classes like Necromancers or Barbarians, equipped with the Dispel build, are able to remove the Transfusion buff. My best advice to counter these giant red monsters is to maintain your distance, avoid feeding into their shield, and either wait or break through the transfusion cycle. Because at the end of each transfusion cycle, the current shield dissipates, leaving a 3 to 4 second window before the next transfusion can be applied, and even if reactivated, the new shield is small and fragile.
Rock.
So this is the make or break moment for all Abomination builds, as the BK must quickly find a target to inflict damage or risk breaking a fresh transfusion cycle, leaving them defenseless for 15 to 20 seconds. So, in the class comparison and rating the Blood Knight overall, for speed, I give them an 8, for overall survivability, an 8, team utility, a 5, and for damage, I give them an 8, giving the Blood Knight a total score of 29 points.
Veri.
From soldier to savior, our beloved satyrs are strong and slower than ever. These human-sized bug zappers can quickly shift the tides of battle with their incredible team support and massive damage potential, with build combinations ranging from solid sturdy bubble tank to instant killing glass cannons. As I can tell you, I definitely enjoyed my time as a Crusader, as I found that the class scales extremely well with high amounts of potency and as much armor and pin as you can give it. The class overall has extreme damage capabilities and probably one of the best PvP baseline skills.
GaddTV.
Conjuration of Light, providing you and your party a few brief moments of complete damage immunity, as well-timed bubbles can drastically change the outcome of many battles. So my best advice for you all when trying to counter most of these common Crusader builds: first of all, try and avoid standing near their circular area effects, especially the smaller blue one. Secondly, back out during Conjuration of Light. Third, try and force the bubble early, backline pressuring them to preemptively cast their conjuration away from nearby teammates. And lastly, chase down and execute before their cooldowns are able to reset.
Midgetsu.
And now for my class comparison rating. For the Crusader, on their damage rating, I give them a 9, capable of being able to one-shot most of their enemies instantly. And through the use of Conjuration of Light, I give them a team utility score of an 8. While the class has high damage capabilities, it severely lacks mobility. So I give the Crusader a speed rating of 3. And because the Crusader has such poor mobility, it is unable to enter and exit the battlefield, unable to reset its cooldowns, so I give it a survival rating of 4, for a combined score of 24.
Mayuri.
And now for the Demon Hunter, the class that currently has it all: insane damage, high mobility, and tremendous survivability. While I do plan to discuss mostly on the more popular DH Dash build, I would like to give some acknowledgement to the potential power of the knockback shot from the new chest essence, the Unblemished Hide, where knockback shot fires multiple piercing blasts, paired alongside the cannoned offhand, where knockback shot damage is increased per yard from the target, and I could definitely see it being used in a lot of other builds.
Gambit.
Now, in regards to this effectively powerful and simplistic dash build I mentioned earlier, other chest and offhand combination of recently released essences, the chest of the Fume Threads, Smokescreen now launches grenades at nearby enemies, and another offhand of Supply Everlasting also launches chakrams at nearby enemies while you dash, accompanied with an assortment of additional scape essences. The Demon Hunter has essentially become a human-sized wrecking ball with passive explosive damage capable of immobilizing their target simply by catapulting themselves headfirst into the enemy.
Ezareth.
And with no regard of being captured, as escape's cooldown instantly recharges from any incoming damage, the class indeed has it all. Notice many of the region's top PvP players have class swapped to the Demon Hunter, as this primarily has a lot to do with the making and production of the showcase occurring at the same time as the cross-server Bout of Realms tournament. Because I originally intended to give each class its own allotted time in the showcase, but found finding recognizable PvP names from top PvP players across the globe for each of the class to be extremely difficult
Baratheon.
and would exclude many of the fan favorite PvP players. So I do apologize for some class sections being shorter than others, but I am extremely grateful to the players that allowed me to showcase their builds. Without you all, I would not be able to make this unique style of content or get a chance to meet some of the greatest players from across the globe. So again, thank you all so much, and let's get back to the Demon Hunter. Since I'm currently playing the DH, I found the class stacks extremely well with high amounts of resistance and armor, with increased damage from any additional AP given.
Keevase.
Other means to increase your speed, survivability, and damage: consider stacking terror essences for escape, as each stack adds an additional shield for each dash, while other honorable mentions to keep an eye out for, like Daring Swing's cooldown reduced per yard traveled, or the additional damage from the spinning chakram adding an additional orbiting blade. For set combinations, I've seen many variations work, but my personal favorite being a 4-set of the Gloom, increasing the damage I deal shortly after a dash, with the 4-set bonus drastically increasing my critical hit chance.
Leudra.
Originally, I tried adding a 4-set Vithus for the increased attack speed, but decided that a 2-set Vithus for just the increased beneficial effect would be enough because the survivability of a 2-piece mountain banks that would give an additional shield works best for diving in and out of the enemy back lines. So now let's discuss my class comparison rating for the DH. For speed, I give them a solid 8. Since the cooldown time of both dash abilities can either be reduced or reset, you almost always have an ability to click.
Tarasenko.
Overall, the DH is extremely mobile, capable of jumping in and out of battle with ease. While adding an escape terror essence, each dash builds a stacking absorb shield, great for shedding off incoming and prolonged damaging abilities. That's why for the survivability, I am also giving the Demon Hunter an 8. In regards to benefits for the team, besides the occasional stun, the DH is more of an all-for-one style of class, so for the team utility, I give them a rating of 5. And for damage, I give them a rating of 10.
Kosolwski.
Since stacking survivability gems and sets is more important for the Demon Hunter, their overall damage is tremendous. So for my overall rating of the Demon Hunter, I give them a total score of 30. Also, big shout out to SnakeTheVile, Ezareth, Gambit, Gwen, Baratheon, and the rest of y'all's team for winning East Coast Bout of Realms Championship. And also thank you Mayuri and Kosolwski for being our first SEA and West Coast representatives for this showcase.
Tekky.
And now for our newest class, making its first showcase debut. Druid, the versatile shapeshifter with its multiple transformations, gives this class an abundance of build variations. The Druid's baseline form relies mostly on its healing and long-range spells, as the Druid's wolf form is by far the fastest and most lethal, clawing and shredding its way through the backline of the enemy. And congrats to Tekky and his team on the West Coast Bout of Realms Championship.
Radiant.
As the Druid Wolf shares many similarities in playstyles with classes like the Monk or Tempest, while the Druid's Bear form plays more of the solid sturdy tank role, with massive healing capabilities for themselves and allies. In their short existence, both Bear and Wolf builds have seen the main stage spotlight, but personally, I think the Bear tank is currently one of the most difficult classes to handle, as their healing and survivability is unmatched, as the class is capable of restoring massive HPS for itself and nearby allies.
A Bulark.
So in regards to my class comparison ranking, I'll be scoring the Druid class based on the popular Bear tank build. So for the Bear, I give them a speed rating of 5, as most of the builds replace many of the additional movement speed skills for survivability ones. While the Bear Druid survival rating, I give them a 10. As I previously mentioned before, the Bear is one of the most unmovable and unkillable tanks capable of defending idols and towers from multiple enemies at once.
BrutalB.
As the Druid joins the Crusader as one of the most coveted classes to have among your party, giving the Bear a team utility score of 9 for its high HPS capabilities for itself and nearby allies. While the Druid excels in utility and survivability, it falls short in overall damage, so I give them a rating of 5. For a combined score of 28 points for the Druid class.
Bodhi.
I definitely didn't spend enough time playing the class. I attempted the Druid when it first launched, but I could tell something just wasn't right. It was missing something. It felt like 3 separate classes, all wrapped into one, was just given to us, but it had very limited essences and skill options. The class is overall fun to play, with an assortment of cool and useful skills, as I can see many potential build opportunities with this class in the nearby future. So with time, the class is only going to improve, and will continue to improve, as new updates and essences are released.
YooProo. Annihilation. GreedGaming.
Originating from the Shaolin monasteries and passed down through the age of time, loyal disciples still practice in the teachings of the monk's sacred art of Zen. These loyal followers are trained for hand-to-hand combat while using their speed and agility to subdue their opponent, as I've seen the class produce a couple of solid build combinations with what appears to be a quick-stepping dash setup with tremendous single-target damage capabilities, while the other style of monk I've encountered is much sturdier, utilizing many defensive area effects and shields, able to hold a specific position for extended periods of time.
Nekkie.
Unfortunately, this build does sacrifice all of its damage capabilities, but makes up for it with its survivability. The monk overall is a solid class, just currently with limited build options. I will also be using the dash DPS build for my class comparison rating. So, for speed, I give the monk an 8, as many of the monk's abilities increase its baseline speed, while the class's available mobility skills, through the help of essences, provide many useful damage and survivability perks. As many warrior monk builds rely heavily on the art of stealth, the room for error is small,
Honk.
and the class can quickly be overwhelmed by a swarm of enemies, so I give the class a survival rating of 6. In regards to utility, the monk can provide its allies with minor shielding and HPS, but the benefits are small and dissipate quickly. So for utility, I give the monk a 4. As for damage, I give them a 5. The class is effective to take out smaller backline classes like DH, Necro, or Wizards, but has difficulty in being able to remove sturdy tank classes like the BK or the Bear Druid. So I give the monk an overall rating of 23 points.
Limpeh.
Breaking forbidden taboos for the ability of raising undead ghouls, the Necromancer. The class for me that started it all. Wraithing, scything, rising, dotting, and rotting. And quickly, just a big shout out to my boy Limpeh. Thank you so much for helping me get in contact with all of these SEA players. And now back to our Necromancer. The class scales especially well with high stacks of potency and any additional armor and AP given. The class essentially is a Swiss Army knife with a variety of build options,
Kamui.
as I've seen many necro builds with dots, summons, dispels, walls, spikes, scythe, and even some becoming the summon. But the build I plan to discuss and will be using for my class comparison rating is the more popular Grim Scythe Skeleton Mage Bone Armor build that you can see my buddy Cam demonstrating above, as Wraith Form is the most commonly used movement skill for the Necromancer, allowing them to ghost freely through the enemy with increased movement speed and immunity to all incoming damage. And with the help of the Stroke of Midnight Essence, Wraith Form's cooldown can be reduced
Guinevere.
when receiving incoming damage. So for speed, I give the Necromancer a 6, as Wraith Form can certainly get the class from point A to B, but it only has one charge and might be better used more defensively in dire situations. And for the Necromancer's survivability rating, I give them an 8. Besides the many advantages of Wraith Form, the Necromancer has found a new source of sustainability. From the essence of the Draw of the Deep on the chest, Bone Armor now passively absorbs the souls of the vanquished, granting you a stacking absorb shield with each foe slain.
Kui.
For team utility, I give the Necromancer a score of 5, as it is capable of many support style builds, but majority of them will cater to its own self-preservation. And now lastly, for damage, I give the Necromancer a score of 6. The class itself doesn't have large burst damage capabilities, as its primary source of damage comes from stacking multiple damage overtime effects and gems that utilize the class's overall potency, giving the Necromancer a combined score of 25.
Lady Dior.
The class overall is a lot of fun to play with multiple unique build options and is great for beginners just starting out in PvP.
The Ruined Queen. Rock.
Water, air, Zephyrs, Tempest, the wave-riding, wind-slinging class that for a time dominated the battlefield. As the Tempest playstyle is fast-paced and in-your-face, the class overall utilizes many essences to boost its primary attack damage, and the class scales especially well with high resistance and the additional AP and armor provided. So in regards to my class comparison rating, for speed, I give the Tempest an 8, but its survivability rating a 2.
Mayuri.
As many other classes have turned to making more survivable builds capable of battling multiple enemies for an extended period of time, as the Tempest must rely on its speed for survivability. Even though with its high damage capabilities, giving them a score of 7, the Tempest is unfortunately unable to self-sustain itself through multiple rounds of glad procs and other cheat death effects. And lastly, for my team utility score, I give them a 4, as the class is centered more around its own damage and speed capabilities, not as much for benefits of allies.
It's Kelly.
Giving the Tempest a combined score of 21. The class overall is a lot of fun to play, very fast paced, just maybe not in the best place I've seen it before.
Zapdos.
Have you ever wanted to teleport through walls? Or channel lasers through your fingertips? How about manipulating the fabric of time? Well, if you answered yes to any of those questions, then perhaps
You're a wizard, Harry.
as the wizard has developed many different playstyles over the years, from the good old days of the Ice Crystal Beam Wizards to now, thanks to the help of an older but still fairly new essence on the helm, the Terminus Facade, slow time now reduces the cooldown of non-channeled skills,
Resurgent.
while increasing your movement speed, allowing the wizard to rapidly move and cast through the battlefield, freezing and zapping and knocking its enemies, as I've seen the class scale especially well with high amounts of potency or resistance, while an additional AP and armor is always welcome. So, for my class comparison rating, for speed, I give the wizard a 10, as the class has one of the fastest and furthest traveled movement skills, Teleport, as it already comes with 2 charges, and thanks to the slow time helmet that I mentioned before,
Emmy.
the wizard is capable of rapidly teleporting across the map with great ease. For survivability, I give the wizard a score of 5, as the class relies heavily on its speed for survivability, so unfortunately once the wizard is caught, it's game over. For team utility, I give them a score of 4, as most of their skills are for personal benefits. And for damage, I give the wizard an 8, as the class is capable of producing insane amounts of damage, giving the wizard a combined score of 27. And there you have it, folks, another showcase in the books. And as you can see, this is my complete class comparison chart. Also, I do want to make a few things known. First, all the classes are playable and useful in PvP, and you should play whatever class you enjoy. Secondly, yes, free-to-play players can enjoy and succeed in PvP, as all of you just witnessed multiple lower resonance players recommended by their peers for their excellence in PvP. Lastly, thanks again to all the players that participate in this showcase. It truly does mean a lot to me and to the rest of the Diablo Immortal community. So if you have a favorite player you would like to see appear in the next showcase, leave their name in the comment section below, and I'll catch you all in the next one.